All right, guys, what I'm going to talk to today with you about is I've got a surface planer here. This is a nice portable one. When you're on the job site, you're going to need something like this, a portable unit you can work with, especially if you need to plane a board down. What we're doing when we talk about surface planers, sometimes the thickness of our material, this, for instance, this was bought at the store, it was 3/4 of an inch thick, and let's just say I've got to plane it down to a smaller size. We can do that. We can plane the surface here, the flat surfaces. We can bring it down. Or let's just say it's too rough, and all you're trying to do is get it smoothed over. And we want to run it through the surface planer. So I'm going to demonstrate today how to use the surface planer. So one of the things we have, guys, we have what we call the in-feed table and what we call an out-feed table. This planer will self-feed. Once you get the wood in there, it'll basically self-feed itself through. Sometimes you got to wiggle a little bit to get it through, but for the most part, it'll self-feed itself through the unit, okay? We've got our power switch for on-off. We have to make some adjustments. We can raise the blades inside by rotating our table. Every rotation equals a 1/16 of an inch. One rotation is a 1/16 of an inch. Say, well, geez, that's not much. Well, a lot of times we're not trying to take too much off this. We might only be trying to take a 1/4 inch off this particular machine as we're using it. So, or off this piece of wood as we push it through the machine. So I'm going to go over it with you. There's a gauge here we have that'll actually give us a gauge of the thickness, but I have a trick that I use, that I like to use when I'm doing my adjustments before I run it through. Now, word of caution and safety. And I always say this, never, ever, ever put your hands inside the machine on this side or the outfeed table. Those blades are extremely sharp. They spin for a long time afterwards. They just don't shut down. Sometimes they're free spinning. You put your hand in there, you're going to cut your fingers can get cut. So avoid that. And I never ever put my hands in there. If I got to clean it out, I'll take a hose and I'll blow it out. Okay? Even because if you take your hand in there and just touch those blades, your hand scrape across it, you're going to cut yourself. Okay? So with that safety, let's think about that. Also, guys, safety goggles. Make sure you put them on. You can put them on over your glasses, as I will do, and I'm going to keep them on right now as we move forward so I can show you. So I'm going to just run this through a couple times through the planer. We're going to take about 2/16 of an inch off of it, which is about 1/8 of an inch grand total. The first thing I like to do, guys, and the simple thing I do is I put it in here. And I make sure it can slide back and forth. And what I do is I'm going to bring the blade down until it touches the wood. That's how I determine my depth of my first initial cut. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to keep moving it back and forth, and I'm cranking, and right there, it grabbed it. I'll do it again. I'll take it back, sliding, I come through, and it grabbed it. Okay, so that's the cut point. And I always tell people this, you get your cut point, I got to get that wood out of there. I'm not going to start the machine up right now because it'll bog down, you'll have some damage to it. So I'm going to take it one rotation from that point back. Now my wood will come out. I'm going to set it down. And the other thing is, guys, before I move forward, this is not made for cutting plywood, okay? This tabletop that I got here, this is plywood. It's got the grain in it. The finished product on plywood is in the top layer there. It's only about a 1/16 of an inch thick. I cut through this top layer, and I don't have good wood to cut. This is pine. It's grained all the way through. It's going to cut nice. So you can't run plywood through it. The other thing is, your piece of wood that you want to run through it must be it must be at least 12 inches long to go through, because once I feed it through the table, it's got to get to the outfeed table in time. Otherwise, it's going to get stuck in there. If a piece of material, for some reason, does get stuck, don't try working it out or pulling it out or whatever. Just shut it down, crank your wheel down, take it out, start over. Okay? So just a good safety factor there. Okay? So it must be at least 12 inches long. Also, thickness. You cannot plane less than 1/4 inch. If you go below 1/4 inch, again, as the wood's going through, it can, the force and torque that this thing has, it basically will break up, disintegrate right there on the spot, and it's just going to break up in the machine and in the blades, and your piece of material won't be any good. So don't plane less than 1/4 inch. All right, so again, I've got it set. Again, I'm going to check it because I did move it back once. I'm going to take it forward till it stops, take it back a turn. There I am, I'm set. Now I'm going to bring it one turn back, forward, and you turn it clockwise to go down, counterclockwise to take it back. And each time we make a cut, we're going to make one rotation turn. Don't do 2 or 3 rotations. The saw is not designed, or the plane is not designed, those blades aren't designed to cut that material, that much of material. It's designed to cut about a 1/16 of an inch on every cut. You can do a half a blade cut, or a half a rotation, which instead of a 1/16, you're going to have a 32nd of an inch cut. It'll do that, but don't try to take too much. All right, I'm going to turn this on. It's going to be a little loud. The first time I go through the first cut that I try to put through, it might not cut. You'll hear it'll just kind of like, and then the second one, as I do a rotation, you'll get the start of your cut. I can check the thickness. I mean, initially right now, I'm showing just shy of 3/4 of an inch. I'm about, I'm just under 3/4, so I want to pass it through, and I'm just going to pass it through 2 good cuts so you guys can see what it looks like. So I'm going to turn the machine on. Oh, sorry, to do that, when you do your adjustments, as you can see, I was unplugged. I'm going to plug my machine in now. Make sure you have a grounded cord as we do it. All right. Take my tape measure. All right, I ran a couple passes through this side. It actually cleaned up very nice. I could probably take another pass on this side. It started the cut. Flip your board over. Okay, it'll clean. It's good to do both sides. Also, to make your saw last longer, work all the blade. One time, run it through the center. The next time, come over to the right side, run it through. Work the blades on the right side. Work the blades on the left side. You don't want to wear your blades out, just keep them coming down the center every time. There's reasons why sometimes we need to plane these down. The material, maybe it's thicker material. It's usually we want to take something down or we want to smooth it up. That's the main purpose of this machine. It's a great little portable machine. You can find them at your hardware stores. They sell them. They're not real expensive. They've come down in cost quite a bit. So pick your model that you like, that you feel comfortable with, and it's a great machine to work with. So I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.